So welcome back to ATRE. So today I'm joined with Paul Arthur, who is co-head of building surveying and a director here at Colliers. So firstly, Paul, welcome onto the channel.
Thank you, Patrick.
This is a little redo, so I'll tell this story. I wasn't going to tell this story,
go for it.
but I'm gonna tell it. So Paul and I, we done a filming about a month and a half ago now, and it was good filming, an hour and a bit of content. I got back and edited the video, and the file corrupted. So Paul has kindly
We're back for round two.
came back for round two, which I appreciate very much. So thank you for that as well.
You're very welcome.
So let's start off with who you are and what you do here at Colliers.
Patrick, firstly, thank you again for the time. It's really great to chat with you. Been following your channel and your podcast for a little while, and I think it's great what you're doing. So my name's Paul Arthur. I'm co-head of building surveying here at Colliers. So I've been in the real estate game, if you want to call it that, for 20 plus years now. So my role here is a UK-wide role. So we've got offices all across the UK, and I am essentially part of the leadership team that runs the building surveying function at Colliers.
Perfect. So you're a fellow alumni from Reading University.
I am indeed,
but
yeah.
you studied the building surveying side of things, didn't you?
That's right.
And you graduated back in 2008.
2008, yeah.
2008.
Yeah.
So firstly, where did you go from there?
Yeah.
And how was that job market for you at the time?
I went to King Sturge. So King Sturge is no longer a operating company, but at the time it was a really well recognised multidisciplinary company like Colliers, but on a smaller scale. It wasn't truly global, but it was European. So I went to King Sturge 2008, and we were just chatting offline. Within literally a couple of weeks, Lehman Brothers crash, like literally one of the bigger recessions of our time, and was properly thrown into the deep end.
Crazy. And you said they laid off a lot of their staff.
They did.
But kept the grads.
Yeah, and I think that sort of flew in the face of a lot of the other consultancies at the time. So a lot of my friends from uni lost their jobs at that time because it was seen as, they were the last ones in. Quite frankly, at that time, the cheapest resource, probably less of a headache to get rid of grads than someone who's been in the business for 20 years. But King Sturge looked at it a little bit more strategically of, this is our future. We've invested in these people. And frankly speaking, there was probably an opportunity to get rid of some dead wood.
Yeah, of course.
I know that sounds like when you run a business, that there are certain times that it's not easy to fire people. And it could highlight, you have to go through a consultancy period, and it can highlight where some people are falling short, and it gives more of a reason to be able to exit those people from the business. And like I said, support the new generation of surveyors coming through. Because I look back now, and I'd say at least half of those people that lost their jobs didn't remain in surveying. Do you think your first few weeks in surveying, you get made redundant? It's going to have a knock, isn't it? It's, a lot of people pivoted and went into other roles and then just stayed in it.
Crazy. So how was your time at King Sturge, though?
Oh, I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. We've got quite a few King Sturge alumni at Colliers now, and it was just a great firm to work at. Yeah, and I think Colliers now and project and building consultancy that I'm part of building surveying, is a different beast. It's a different time to King Sturge, but I do always try to look back to that of what did they do well that I can emulate.
Implement.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
As a leader in the business, because they got it right. They had a real personal touch. It felt like a big, so cliche almost to say it, but it just felt like a big family.
Nice.
It really did.
It's good.
It really did. They seemed to care for their staff. Everybody kind of knew everybody at all levels. There was no, you can't speak to this person because they're not too senior. It was like a real open door policy.
Good. Nice. And you were there for how long until they got taken over?
So I did my APC there. So that would have been, I did that in 2.5 years. And then I think it was about 6 months after that, JLL bought out King Sturge.
Yeah.
And I stayed probably for another 6 months after that.
Oh, really? It was a quick changeover.
Yeah, it was a very different business, JLL to King Sturge. And I mean, JLL at that time would have been the second biggest real estate company in the world behind CBRE in terms of size and volume. And it just had a really, really different feel to it. And
It wasn't for you.
it wasn't for me.
No.
No.
Good. But then JLL moved to Paragon.
I did, yeah. I really pivoted. I hadn't heard of Paragon before
Yes.
and I got approached. I think I had offers at the time at Cushman's and CBRE who were quite similar
Yeah.
to JLL, and that had been kind of a safe move. And I remember thinking, you know what, I've got a really good. You know when you just have a
gut
feel?
feeling for it.
I just had a really good feel about Paragon. The guys that are running it seemed exciting. I think I was the 22nd person that they
Wow.
had hired, and there was 10 people that set it up as joint shareholders. So it just felt like a really exciting time to join an independent business.
And was that quite similar to the sort of feel and vibe at King Sturge as well?
It was, but even more the sort of family feel because it was
really?
so small.
So small.
You know, for example, we'd do Christmas parties and it was partners and, you know, all invited. It was a real family feel. We'd have summer events where, you know, my partner would come along, people's wives and husbands and kids would come along.
Nice.
So really,
a nice feel to that.
Yeah.
And then
really
how long was that before was it a merger or was it another takeover by Colliers?
a strategic partnership.
Strategic partnership.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've been part of Colliers now for 4 years, literally this month.
Okay. Nice. And you transferred over and did you work your way up through Colliers or were
I
you...
did. Yeah. So I joined. I think I wanted to join as a senior surveyor, and they told me I wasn't quite ready.
Ouch.
But yeah, I was like, okay, cool. I appreciate the honesty. But in reality, I wasn't. I mean, I was 1 year PQE, which
Right.
there is a trend at the moment that you get chartered and people want to be senior surveyor straight
Yeah.
away. I've got my own views on that, and it was the right decision. I wasn't a senior surveyor at the time, but within a year, I progressed
Over.
and progressed up through the ranks at Colliers. At Paragon. And also, we had an opportunity to open a Bristol office. So we didn't have a Bristol office at Paragon. And I'm from Bristol. I have an interest in Bristol.
Are you?
Yeah. And I'd kind of said to John and Rob, who are the MDs, if you were ever looking at expanding into that area, I'd like to be involved with it. So I jointly set that up and ran that with 3 other guys, basically into the point that we merged with Colliers. And then I sort of transitioned back to a London-wide role.
Okay. And so what do you think were some of the things which you done at Colliers to make you progress and get to your position now?
I got comfortable with not being comfortable. So what I mean by that is you can always take on the easy instruction or the easy route, asking someone to tell you the answer. I felt like I put myself out there to kind of, you know, put it on the line really. Like, you know, you sort of, you might fail, but you can't be scared of failure because that is the quickest way to learning.
Nice.
And I remember it really, really clearly that I think I must have been a senior surveyor at the time, and I was on a day off, but I got a call from John Monday, who is the CEO of Colliers at the time, and it was quite a scathing call about something that I had done, and he was absolutely well within his rights to call me out on it. And it was the 100% the rocket up my arse that took me from potentially going like this to going on a relatively steep sort of career progression.
Really?
And that I still reference back to a defining moment in my career, that if I hadn't have got that call and he hadn't called me out so candidly and honestly about it, I probably wouldn't have realised the direction I was going.
Really?
And it gave me the rocket up my arse that I needed. And yeah, I'd like to think I've done okay since.
Done well since that.
Yeah.
Do you want to share what the advice was?
I can't share explicit details, but let's just say I had dropped a ball. He called me out for it, and basically said this, like, quite candidly, that this can't be happening again.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
Nice.
And it's sort of I try and take this into my role in leadership now, that you can be scared to upset people, but you have to call people out for stuff where their behaviors aren't aligned with the business. Like, you're not calling someone out for a mistake. Like, if people make mistakes, you go through that constructive criticism, you walk them through it, people learn by mistakes. But what I had done at that time was a behavioral issue.
Right.
So
Okay.
he was bang on to call it out. And, I'd like to think that I can do that authentically in my role now when people fall short of the mark.
And during those early stages of your career, what's that one thing which you learned which still sticks with you today?
That's a good question. I think, like, above all in property, no matter whether you're a building surveyor like I am or general practice surveyor, like, clients are key. If you don't have any clients, you don't have any relationships with clients, you are not really going to be doing any work.
Of course, yeah.
They're so important to everything we do, and to not underestimate the importance of those relationships. So long-term investment in relationships, I think, would probably be one of the key things. And that's clients and your staff, your co-workers, other people. You're probably experiencing this by the people that you speak to. Like, we're very interconnected.
Definitely.
People know people.
Yeah.
And yeah, don't be a dick.
Nice. Simple as that.
Yeah, simple as that. Like, I think somebody did say that once.
Really?
Like, just don't be a dick. I was
And you'll be all right.
And you might be all right. I mean, that's like base level. Hopefully there's some levels above just not being a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, in simple terms, if you're personable, like, and you are spending that time to invest in those relationships, and you value that, it comes across if that's authentic to you.
Good. And apart from not being a dick,
Yes.
what are some of the other ways you build relationships with either clients or people that you work with?
Consistency. So I've been lucky enough to be exposed to some really, really cool, like, industry events. So Propski, which is, you may have heard of it.
Yes,
There's like
yes.
600 people or so that go on that now,
Really?
from the UK. So I was lucky enough I went to that for a couple of years as an attendee, and then I was asked to be on the committee for a few years. So I met a lot of people through that, and they've become lifelong clients and friends. I have people from university that, they joked at the time that they're going to be my client, and I was like, yeah, sure. And they literally still are to this day. So yeah, I think you can't just assume that people will want to stay in touch with you. You've got to be proactive about it.
Nice.
And yeah, just consistency, and I guess that falls into the same as, like, not just showing up and being, fun. There's got to be some substance behind what you're doing. So at the end of the day, quality and what you are delivering will get exposed if you don't have that. So you can't just be someone who people like meeting up with and a nice guy or a nice woman in the industry. You have to be able to back it up.
So more about what you do day to day. So for the people that are watching this, what is building surveying?
So I would say it's kind of like part detective, part problem solver, part project manager. So that's kind of my, like, strap line for building surveying. And the reason I say that is you can learn all the sort of technical knowledge from a book and your APC of how buildings are designed, but you need to understand how they behave and why. And then you take that a level further of interpreting that, and how do you communicate that to your client as to their best interests for repairing something, or looking at their long-term strategic investments when they're buying or selling assets and portfolios. So yeah, that's kind of the strap line. You'd find yourself being out quite a lot. You're not stuck behind a desk typing away at a keyboard. It's very interactive. You're doing site inspections, you're assessing properties, portfolios. There'll be travel involved. You'll meet lots of people from various different walks of life. You'll manage, most likely, projects and different consultants and the lead contact to a client. It's different every day. And I think that's what drew me to it initially, was that changing, that change of perspective. No day's the same. And I haven't ever sort of, woke up get to Sunday evening and dreaded coming into work, because it is kind of like it's not mundane. There's always a problem or a challenge to overcome.
Good. So did you have family in the industry?
No, far from it. So no connection to the property industry.
Really?
I didn't even... So as a bit of context, I come from a working class background. So there was no exposure to real estate or property as a concept or even a potential job route for me. I think, when you go to the sort of careers advice at school, it's like, what do you want to do? What do you like doing? I was like, I like playing football, I like being outside, and I'm relatively academic. And I was PE teacher. And that was like
that was it.
That was kind of as far as my mind could go in terms of what could be in my future. And then I think my godfather, who was a civil engineer, he had mentioned about surveying, and I had no idea what it was. He sort of explained it a little bit, and I did some work experience at a couple of different companies, one locally to Bristol in Clevedon, and then later when I was at university, I worked on a site, like an actual building site, which was quite good, and then I worked for a really quite a nice project management firm in central London over the summer. And I think it was when I did that I was like, okay, this is quite cool. Like within my first week, I remember it really, really clearly. I was just, I was on a summer internship, essentially, like what you're about to embark on. And I think within the first week, I was in a project meeting where they were the project managers for the Cutty Sark. So the Cutty Sark is a quite iconic ship that's based in Greenwich.
Okay.
And it had burnt down. So they were the project managers on the restoration of the Cutty Sark, and during that project, it burnt down, and I was there whilst this all unfolded.
Right.
And I'm really trying not to swear. It was manic.
Really?
Like, as a PM, like, you were managing this multi-million-pound lottery-funded English heritage asset,
right?
And it is set fire overnight.
Crazy.
And I was in the project meeting where there was a lot of finger pointing as to why that happened, and just like I was like, well, one, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Two, this is really, like, I didn't expect. You think building surveying. The work experience I'd done before was on some residential houses in Clevedon, and then I go to London and I'm on a project on this really cool ancient ship that's being restored.
Yeah.
Just goes to show the sort of breadth
Keeps
that
it
you
different.
can, the breadth. That's the sort of pathway that you can take. There's so many different routes in building surveying that you can go down.
So, just going to pick up the work experience side of things. How do you think all of these people watching can go out and get that experience like you did, coming from a family with no connections?
I think it's easier and harder in this day and age. So LinkedIn wasn't a thing then. So it was, I literally, for that first one when I would have been 16 or 17, picked up the Yellow Pages. I mean, I'm kind
I
of
don't
showing,
even know what that is, but
my word, I'm showing my age. It's like a directory. So like where you would, oh my God, it does sound really old school now. No one knows what it is, do they? That listening. Basically a thick yellow book with company and individual phone numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, literally. And I went through that, and I found a company, and I did it. Whereas now you have the beauty of something like LinkedIn, which is a great platform that, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, you guys should be utilizing as much as possible. But yeah, I would apply. There's a lot of competition. You will likely get setbacks. You will likely get rejected. But if it's something that you want to pursue, like I said, you just got to keep being consistent with those efforts, and don't be afraid to take a direct approach, sort of outside of the standard placement structures and stuff like that, because you'd be surprised how many people, if someone shows up with genuine curiosity and a real sort of professional mindset, and they've done a little bit of background research and, they're bringing a bit of value to a very sort of brief introductory conversation, a lot of people will open doors to that, whether it's even for a week, a couple of weeks,
True.
A more formal internship program or a placement offering. We do a lot of placement positions at Colliers in my team where we have people for a year and then they go back to finish their studies. So I wouldn't see it as you can only just go through the sort of standard programs.
Yeah.
There's
Other ways that you
there's
can
lots
do.
of different ways.
Yeah,
to go through
I'm
it.
just going to go on to what you said about the placement that you do with the year. I know that you're very pro
Yes.
year in industry,
Yeah.
sandwich year perhaps.
Yeah.
Why is that?
And this is a shout out to all the universities. I'm not discrediting what you do because I would not have got a job without doing my degree. At that time, apprenticeships were not really an option at all. There are more avenues into surveying now, which I think is great. But I learnt more in my first 2 weeks from my job than I did in 3 years in terms of practical building surveying, commercial building surveying experience. It got me, that degree got me my foot in the door, but there's so much more to learn, and you will learn so much doing a year in industry. I think your dissertation will be probably better for it. You're just going with great confidence in that final year, and then when you start your job, you've kind of got a head start on the APC process because you've done a year.
True.
And we really get people involved in that year. So that we're taking them on lots and lots of different experiences, and we find we haven't got like firm stats on it, but we find that those people who've done a year placement with us have had quicker career progression than those that haven't. So we are going to do a little bit of analysis on that just to verify it. But the sort of 4 or 5 people that we've had do that definitely have had accelerated career progression in comparison to their peers. Yeah.
So you mentioned with the APC getting prep for it beforehand.
Yeah.
Are you able to use what you've learned in that year
Yeah.
as, am I correct in saying you sort of, you've got subject properties which you reference in your APC. Are you able to use that from then?
Yeah, you have to have done 2 years minimum for your diary, but you can use that as relevant experience.
Okay. So moving on with work experience, and we mentioned work experience, and we mentioned getting to know people, relationships.
Yeah.
That brings the question of what would you say is more important of the two?
So what's more important, relationships or
Work experience.
work experience? I think they both have a really strong place. And speaking particularly to your network and your listeners, I would say work experience, but with a big caveat, not to the detriment of relationships. I think you should really be thinking about them in tandem.
Okay.
So I think if you go straight into industry and you've not done any work experience, you're most likely going to be fine.
Yeah.
But you might not get that job because it's so competitive to get jobs now.
Yeah.
Like if I get CVs through and I've got, we had thousands of applicants for the graduate program this year.
Yeah.
And that gets whittled down to a short list for me to review. Say I've got 10 CVs, 9 of them have got work experience and 1 person hasn't got work experience. That one person is likely, not always, because there's a bit of a screening process and all that, but they're going to have a lower chance of getting,
Of course,
an interview.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the be all and end all, but it will 100% help your chances of getting an interview at bigger firms. And it kind of shows proactivity. And that's a really, really key thing for me with interns, graduates starting out in your careers. Be proactive because nothing's going to be handed to you for free.
No.
Like there's so much competition out there. It's a great industry to be in. Like it's really rewarding. It's a lot of fun at the same time. You were just at Surveyors Sevens.
Yeah,
that's an annual event that
ago.
happens. There's loads of stuff that's going on. It's a really fun industry to be in, but it's not going to get handed to you on a plate.
No.
And you have to work hard. Anyone who's made a success out of their careers has worked hard. And that goes at the start of your career of just not expecting that you're just going to get a job because you've done a degree or whatever. You kind of have to stand out.
And I think So I was lucky enough to get on your program for the
You were,
internship.
yeah.
So
Congratulations again.
thank you. But I don't think I would have got that if I didn't build relationships. Because if I didn't build a relationship, I wouldn't have got that work experience.
Yeah.
And then without that work experience, my CV wouldn't have been
That's
up to
that's kind of
scratch.
the point, isn't it? It's like you should probably do the work experience.
Yeah.
But sometimes the work experience comes out of building a relationship.
Yeah.
So it's
like
like
chicken or the egg sort
it's
of
like
thing.
which one comes first.
Yeah.
I would be saying I think what you've done with your podcast and your engagement is fantastic because you have built lots of relationships that will stand you in good stead for for obviously this internship at Colliers, but who knows what
Yeah.
that could do
Thanks.
for you in your career later on. And I would say to other people that are listening that is something that you shouldn't feel like you can't do, of reaching out to people at all levels in the industry. You'd be surprised at how senior people will be willing to be mentors or give some time to people who show genuine curiosity and interest in what they do.
You mentioned the LinkedIn
Yes.
side of things.
Yeah.
What would make a LinkedIn page stand out to you?
I'd say like genuinely authentic content. I mean, if you're a podcast host, that probably helps because it's going to stand out. So kudos to you for that and anybody else who's doing it. Because that is going to make you stand out.
Yeah.
Like, there's no two ways about that. And it has made you stand out in your applications for the internship here at Colliers. But yeah, I think we're in a very interesting time in the industry where everyone's saying, like, your personal brand is everything. You need to be posting this. We've got TikTok and all that kind of stuff. I feel like you should be doing stuff that's authentic to you.
Yeah.
So, if you're someone that's super, super technical and loves that kind of stuff, then lean into that and post stuff that's interesting, about that kind of stuff, because that's interesting to you. If you feel super comfortable behind a camera and you're quite extroverted and you can create some cool, interesting content around surveying, do that. Like, if it's not authentic and comfortable to you, then it's probably not going to land that well, because it will just probably kind of show up a little bit, I'd say.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if anyone, with LinkedIn, I'm no expert, but people tell me like regular consistency, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of people out in the industry that are better at that than I am. But I think personal brand is becoming more and more important.
Definitely, yeah. And with the consistency side of things, even with doing these videos now, the more I post,
it's like how the algorithm works, I think, isn't it? It's like, the regularity, it feeds into it and you get more engagement.
Exactly. And those videos we mentioned before I started talking, or before we started filming, with the walk and talk side of things, those get more engagement.
Yep.
I suppose that's because people are walking in the background, keeps things more interesting for the viewer. But it's just sort of finding that groove and niche,
I think so,
which you can sort of go down and
and that'll be different for everyone.
You
could look at someone and be like, I like what they're doing. That's not quite how I do it. And you find you might try a few things and it might feel a bit cringy and it might not land, but it doesn't really matter.
No,
it really doesn't care. Like, if I've taken anything from people who are more, who are better at it than I am, it's like, post it.
Yeah. That's
if you're not sure, just post it. It doesn't really matter.
No, especially at this age now with, because I'm 20, people around my age, they're all trying to do their own thing as well, and it's not judged like it would have been back in school.
Yeah.
And that's what's really nice about it, because you see someone doing they would do like a day in the life of fitness and what they eat, what they go for a run, and that would have been seen as cringy back in school days, but now it's nice because everyone's really supportive.
That's great.
Of each other.
Yeah,
and it's
really
like with this, people are very supportive as well that I'm doing it, which is
that's nice,
helping me carry on.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess.
Yeah.
All the people watching this are about early careers, trying to get a job. What would you say are the best traits for someone to have in this industry, which can make them stand out against everyone else?
I think I've touched on a few of them as we've been talking. So I would definitely say hardworking. I would definitely say curious. And sociable would help. Like if you're hardworking, you're curious, that's going to take you quite a long way, I think, because you do have to work hard. Like I said, there's no two ways about that. Especially at the early stage of your career, you've got to earn your stripes. You've got to learn to get that. That APC is a big milestone to get.
Really?
And it's a proper monkey off your back when you do get it. But it kind of doesn't stop there. That's what I love about surveying is, I'm learning stuff all the time. And I've been in it for 20 years. There'll be people in it 30, 40 years, and they're learning stuff every day as well. So that learning never stops. You've got to constantly, you can't become complacent. There's always, I think, I don't remember who told me it, but someone said to me years ago about being like the hardest worker in the room. And I would kind of try and look to my left and to my right, and am I working harder than the people, my peers, my colleagues? And if I'm not, then it's like, okay, what can we do? And if you have that mindset starting out, you're going to be on the right footing.
Okay.
And I say curiosity because I've seen people come through before that are technically very good, but like when you have that sort of level of curiosity to really try and understand things, I think that's quite a special skill set to have.
Definitely.
Because one, it shows genuine interest and like intrigue into like, I really want to understand this. Like, why do I want to understand this? Okay, because I want to be confident when I'm speaking to my clients and I'm doing this, rather than just, you could ask me a technical question, and I could give you the answer. But the chances of you retaining that knowledge are a lot less than if you've gone into it and tried to search for the answer yourself and come back to say, Paul, when we were on that site inspection, I wasn't too sure about this. I've gone away and looked at it, and I think maybe, it's something to do with this. Like, you're going to learn so much quicker with that mindset than,
True.
Can you give me the answer, please?
Yeah, I get you.
And that's where I find, I'm going off on a tangent here, sorry.
No, you're good.
Where AI is interesting at the moment.
Yeah.
As a cautionary tale to AI.
Yep.
What have I've used a little slogan internally of experience trumps expedience.
Okay.
So I didn't have AI when I was a graduate or growing up. My personality traits would strongly lean me probably into trying to get those answers from AI.
Yeah.
I would have struggled with that. I know myself well enough now to know that I would have struggled with the temptation of getting the answers.
Yeah.
And I see that as a challenge to graduates and surveyors entering the industry, because you've grown up with it more so than my generation and other people in the business. It's probably very normal for you guys to use it. We use it, but you've had years of using it for your learning and stuff like that. So when I say experience over expedience, is you can get a quick answer to something, or you can get the experience that layers on top of that answer. So I think all that AI will do is, if you don't have that experience, you're going to get the wrong answer quicker.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen, I've tested AI with some technical stuff, and it's given me the wrong answer.
Yeah.
So it's great as a expediency tool for output, reviewing stuff quicker, but there is a issue with you replacing knowledge and experience with just relying on
AI to tell you the answer.
Yeah. Sorry, I know that was a real tangent.
No,
not directly linked to what you asked, but
it makes sense with the, it is a temptation to. You come across a problem and you don't think about it. You just go into Claude and you say, "Help me." How
do you resist yourself?
I don't know. It's especially with uni work.
Yeah.
But what it's really good at doing is lecture slides. Put the lecture into Claude, and you say, make me notes on this, which are easier to understand.
Yeah.
And then after the lecture, you go through those notes, and it does give you a better understanding of what you have just learned.
Yep.
But I completely agree with the don't go straight to it.
Yeah.
Think about it first.
Is that like, I think where it's really powerful is it will speed up a lot of processes.
Yeah.
And it will make our lives easier if we use it properly.
You mentioned the APC earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What is your advice for the people that may be sitting it in the next few years?
Yep. I would get very comfortable with being in a kind of like a Dragon's Den
Really?
format, because that's what I mean, at the moment it's all online.
Yeah.
So before COVID, it was all in person, and it would be me sitting here at a desk and 3 old judges essentially
Really?
Critiquing your work, and you've got to present to them. So like if you go into that process having not practiced that, you're on the back foot straight away, because
Yeah.
that whole process in itself is very alien to a lot of people.
Definitely.
Obviously, I was lucky enough at King Sturge that a lot of the partners at the time gave up their time to do loads of Q&A, so lots of questions on, and they were giving me a hard time. Like,
I bet.
like, oh, come on, you don't need to be this. But it sort of sets you up, because a random person that doesn't know you isn't going to give you a free ride in your APC. So going through that interview process of how people ask questions and how you can answer it is really important. And breadth of experience. So really try and
Get stuck in.
like be open and curious to different ways of getting your experience, because it will all feed into that, and it will all help.
Yeah. So I've got that in the next few years coming up. And it is just the prep for it. You know, I'm trying to, I do a little bit of research here and there now to see what I sort of expect, speak to grads.
Yeah.
And I suppose that's what's quite good about your bigger companies as opposed to your smaller, more boutique firms, is the support and the people that have gone through it as well.
Yeah, you do have that. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say one route is better than the other, but I would say you will get more structure to support at a bigger firm. You know, there will be smaller firms that are fantastic at putting people through the APC. You know, at Paragon, we had like 100% success rate for like 8 years of putting people through.
Really?
And it was only a couple of years ago, a couple of people didn't go through that kind of stopped.
Yeah.
So and that was an independent firm. That wasn't a big firm. But you, as a firm, you have to invest in that, and you have to be really supporting those individuals to put them through it.
Good. So if you could pick out one reason these people watching should get into the industry, not just building surveying, but just the built environment as a whole, what would it be?
Reason to get involved in property. I think I said before, it's challenging. So if you want to be challenged, you want to have fun along the way, there is great reward in terms of not just, you know, financially it can be a good career for people, but also in terms of sort of social stimulus and stuff like that. And like I said, it's not for most people in surveying, it isn't just you're sitting behind your desk and doing this. It's like, it's very interactive. You're out quite a lot seeing stuff. It's a different challenge every day. So yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people who have been in the industry for years and years and years, and, you know, touching back to your point about, did you come from a family in real estate? I didn't, but there's a lot of people whose mums and dads were, and they've gone into it probably because of their parents saying, this is like, it's a good
cool
industry. Yeah, it's a cool industry to be in. And I think at this time, it's a really cool industry to come into because we're at the real inflection point with AI, and you guys coming in are going to be like the superhumans who've been using this more than the people who've been in the industry for 30 years. Like, you can really add some value with how you can leverage those skill sets that you can bring to the table, because next couple of years,
they're going to be pretty
real estate's going to change completely in terms of the way that it's advised upon, I think, and the tools we use to advise our clients and our staff.
For the better?
I hope so. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I don't know if you saw the news recently, but the Anthropic and Claude and OpenAI came out as part of their recent annual results, saying it's going to take over all these roles. Like, AI is going to take over all these roles.
Really?
And they wrapped up real estate in that.
Oh, did they?
So all of the big corporate real estate's share prices plummeted like 20% because they said that. And one thing you've got to remember with these CEOs of these firms, one, they have never worked in these types. They are tech people, so they've never worked in these types of roles where it's very, very personable, very, very personable. That isn't going to change. Like there'll be processes that you can use to layer on top of that make your job easier, more efficient, quicker, better quality of data, analytics, all that stuff will happen. But that relationship piece that we talked about before, that's not getting replaced by AI. It's just not going to happen. And yeah, I just found that interesting and they are obviously incentivized because they're raising capital for their businesses. So they're going to say everyone needs AI and all these jobs are going to get wiped out because it leans into their story.
Their benefit, so I'm doing an essay at the moment and it's of if AI is a bubble.
Okay.
So you've got to compare it to the .com, you've got to compare it to 08.
Yeah.
What do you think?
What's your conclusion in your essay? You probably know better.
You know what? So I think that it is.
Interesting.
I think, that there's statements which people who are at the high tech firms, Google, saying that it is. Of course it is. But I think it's more controlled than 2008. There's a lot of money going into AI startups.
A lot.
And not all of those startups are positive and they crash.
Yeah.
But I think there was a really interesting statement and it was about a bubble is bad, technically. You go into recession, people lose a lot of money. However, the technology from that bubble remains after the bubble's burst.
Yeah.
And that is obviously beneficial to a lot of things. It was about Australian railways, and a lot of people are plowing a load of money into railways in Australia. So then a lot of people lost money when it crashed.
Yeah.
But the railways were left behind and they're used for other things.
Yeah, I've seen that comparison with the stocks and the valuations that you're seeing. Is it a railroad, comparison? And I think a lot of commentary is that it is, because if you look at the percentage of fundraising at the moment in terms of what it's going to, it's so heavily weighted into tech and AI. It's a joke.
Crazy.
It is absolutely outrageous. Notwithstanding that, even if it is a bubble, that technology in some form, not all of those companies' technology, but that technology of AI is going to stay, I think, personally. Yeah. I don't see a scenario where it doesn't. But yeah, it could have a material impact in terms of like you say, a bubble on the stock market. But I think our roles as professionals, especially in real estate, will look, if we're having this conversation in 5 years' time, I think it'll be really interesting to see how things have changed
since then.
And moved along.
Yeah, definitely. And how the younger people can implement AI into what they do.
Yeah.
This next topic, so I've asked it to the two people before this filming, and I started it off a few weeks ago with another guy, and I call it the coffee chat. Okay. So having a coffee is a big thing in the industry. It's always, can we go for a coffee? Helps build relationships. It can have a lot of benefits, and you can meet a lot of good people from it, and I've met a lot of good people. I'm sure you have too.
Yeah.
But what is actually going for a coffee? Because there's a lot of people, you and I, right? You've got your job and I'm a student. I'm hungry to get into the industry. I say, all right, Paul, let's go for a coffee. What do I talk about in that coffee?
I love that.
For it to be, it'll be beneficial for you.
Yeah.
For it to be beneficial for you speaking to me, and also beneficial to me speaking to you.
Yeah.
So what do you expect me to know and me to do during that coffee chat? For maybe, I don't know, maybe me to get some work experience, or maybe for just us to build a relationship up.
I love that question because it's really thinking about the value of not just being like, I need to go for a coffee. I've done 10 coffees, I've done 12 coffees, I've done 20 coffees. What does that mean? What are you getting out of that? What are the other people getting out of it? And I think, so don't just treat those coffees as, I'm going to go there and I'm going to wing it when I'm there. Preparedness, go to that having looked at what this person's background is, what their business is. And again, it's I'm stumbling across it again, that curiosity piece. Be curious about what they're doing. If you go there and if I had a random request from someone and I've not met them, I'm not going to meet every single person that wants to go for a coffee. But if someone has like shown an interest in me or my career or my business that I work at and kind of like presented some sort of like value to that, then I'm going to be like, one, I definitely should just meet them because look at the effort that they put in.
Yeah.
And two, like I'm kind of interested in meeting this person now because they're showing this sort of proactivity and thing like that. So I would always try and put yourself in the shoes of the person that you're meeting. No one really wants to sit and be pitched to without any sort of like, what's the value proposition for them? Like, what are they going to get out of it? And it could just be completely, they want to give something back. And you might glean that out of the sort of initial approach that they're quite keen to support people coming into the industry. And it could literally be a one-sided thing.
Yeah.
But try and see if there's something you can offer, some sort of value you can offer them.
Okay.
And that could take various different forms.
What are some of those?
Well, I think if I have a mentor that was actually one of my old bosses when I was at King Sturge.
Okay.
So when I was kind of going through a sort of leadership transition into my role now, I reached out to her, Helen Goff, and I sort of understood, will she want to do this? Like, will she want to spend time? And she's been amazing, one. Good. And two, she was like, I'd be delighted to. So I think it's kind of, I wasn't necessarily offering anything to her other than her using her experience to impart onto me. And I think there's something in that when you get to a certain level that something quite cathartic about that if someone's like inquisitive and wanting help or support in something, most of us have gone through a journey, and I use that example of Helen, most of us have gone through a journey where we've been mentored.
Yes.
Not everyone, but a lot of people, and even if it's an informal mentor that someone, that you just looked up to, most people want to give something back.
Yeah, that's what I found in the industry is
Yeah.
people do like to give back.
Yeah.
Because they've had that help in the past.
Yeah.
As well, and I'm sure I will in the future.
Yeah.
I'll have a.
You'll pay it. It's kind of like the pay it back mentality.
Yeah.
Most people, especially if they've had that, they're going to be the kind of people that you would want to receive it from.
Yeah.
As well. So it's kind of just like
a cycle.
Yeah.
Have you got any mentees?
I not formally at the moment, but I've got. We do have some internally. So I mentor like 2 or 3 people in building surveying. I am quite open to having like mentees outside of my specific sphere of building surveying.
Okay.
Just hasn't materialised at the moment.
How would people go about getting that mentor? Is it as simple as saying, me coming up to you and saying, "Oh, Paul, do you want to mentor me?" Is it as simple as that?
It can be, yeah. I would try and put a bit of context behind it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with fluffing someone up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like stroke the ego. So, it could be someone that you admire in the industry. You're not going to probably just cold request being mentored by a huge number of people in the industry. I would suggest that's probably not the approach. It would probably be identifying handful to start with of people that you're interested in, you like their background, you like what they're doing, you can kind of see how it could work as a mentor-mentee relationship. Fine. And be very candid as to why you've spoke to them. Like, why do you think, why you would like to be mentored by them? I would expect you'd get quite a lot of success by taking that route. Yeah, I really would. Like I said before, a lot of people, they have time for that, or they will find time for that, because say for example, I've got the ones in Colliers. If someone came up to me, this is not a plug. I mean, if someone does want to be mentored, like I said, I'm absolutely happy to, and set out reasons why they'd like that, what it could be a benefit to them, and maybe there might even be some indirect benefit to me in that respect. I'd find time for it because, it's interesting, and you're passing that down from I've had the benefit of it. So I would like to,
Give it on.
yeah, exactly.
Nice. But what would be one thing
Hmm.
that the younger generation can do this week that can get them closer to being in the industry and getting work experience, getting a grad scheme, getting an internship? Just nudge them a little bit.
Yeah, I would be, I would use LinkedIn as a tool. It's really powerful. I would research, look into, however you want to go about it, into firms and individuals that you're interested in. Let's say you want to have work, you want your ultimate goal in the first instance is get some work experience. Look at some companies that you're interested in, some individuals that you're interested in, and reach out. Don't do it as a copy and paste every single one.
Yeah.
Like that shines through very quickly. Yeah, it does.
Or an AI sort of message.
Yeah, exactly. With the
prompt still in the top.
Exactly. Make it authentic. Spend some time, because if you're asking for someone to consider you or to spend time with you, and it's clear that you haven't, then it'll get dismissed at source. So I would, you're asking for an investment in you as an individual.
Yeah.
So invest some time in those individuals in putting forward a request, I guess. So
Nice.
yeah, that's what I would do. I would identify companies of individuals that you're interested in. That they might not all be in this exactly the same route, and reach out to them, and don't be disheartened if you don't hear anything, because some people just won't, and it's not wrong to follow up.
Yep.
Maybe when you're on follow up 3 or follow up 4, it might be time to call it quits.
Yeah.
But then that's you draw up a list, and some people you just accept that you haven't, for whatever reason, they haven't come back to you. There could be many a different circumstance as to why. And don't be disheartened, because
Nice.
Anything that's worth, I've kind of always lived by this, anything that's worthwhile in life and in your career is worth pursuing, and it's hard work. So I'd be surprised if you sent out one request for an internship or mentoring program and you got it. You might be really lucky and someone does do that.
I think I applied to 30.
Yes,
However,
yeah.
not all of those 30 were full on
Yeah.
your cover letter, your questions and things like that. But yeah, I landed the one. But it's tough, especially with internships.
Yeah.
Because not everyone offers them.
Yes.
Did you do an internship, or was it just sort of
No,
work experience?
it was work experience. So yeah, I wouldn't, like you say, if you get an internship, it's great, but equally there's a lot of flexible opportunities for work experience in the industry. Internships obviously usually run over the summer for a limited period of time, whereas work experience can be at any time during the year, for literally one day, or 2 weeks. So, and that's what I'd sort of say of, if you've reached out to someone and say, I've looked at this with your asset portfolio, I think it's really interesting that you're doing this, can I come in and spend 1 or 2 days learning more a bit about this?
Yeah.
Why is someone going to say no?
Yeah.
Really, unless, there might be business reasons or whatever, but I think showing a genuine interest and following it up with a sort of a request to come and learn a bit more because I'm intrigued by what you're doing and starting out on my journey is going to land pretty well.
Cool. So just to finish off, I'm sure, well, I know we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you could pick out one thing that we've spoken about for this whole session to tell everyone on how they can get closer to the industry, what would it be?
I would say build up your connections. And I know that sort of goes does it go against what I said earlier about the whole chicken and egg with work experience and connections? But I feel like it's such a relationship business. Us sitting here is testament to that. You've reached out and you've done that with other people that you've met and spoken with. I feel like building that up and seeing where that can take you, and that can be various different forms. It can be going to events, could be being proactive with just LinkedIn engagement of stuff that you're interested in, companies that you're interested in. But yeah, I would say start building up your network as soon as possible, because you'd be surprised who's in your network. It could be, people on your course that is your network. Like I said, when I was on my course at Reading, there's still people now that I do work with 20 years
That's
later.
crazy.
And they're friends, but as they like to remind me, also clients. So your network starts from maybe earlier than you think.
Yeah.
And you should not think that you could only be networking with people at your level.
Yeah.
Like there's huge power in having the confidence and the personality to reach out and create connections with senior leaders in the industry. And if you do that, you'll build confidence. People will respect you because you've done that. And you just never know what those connections can lead to.
Awesome. All right, everyone. That was Paul Arthur. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Thanks, everyone.